So we're going to start laying on our backs. I want you to be comfortable. If you prefer to be seated, because we're going to just be working with some breath awareness initially. So I quite like to do this laid on my back. But as I say, seated is just as good. You can always have a cushion or something. So if we are seated, I would suggest that you sit on something so that your knees can drop. So you want your knees at least at this, like you want it lower than your hips basically, so you can get a nice opening. So if you are seated, sit on something. Otherwise, just lay down on your back. All right, to support the lower spine, take the feet to mat distance apart and let the knees knock together. All right, and then with the arms, you can either have them out by your sides with the palms facing up, or for breath awareness, it's quite nice to bring your hands onto your ribs so you can really feel the breath. Okay, so first things we need to do is to just take some regular breaths. So just bring yourself to your mat. And as you take these breaths, you may want to soft gaze at the ceiling, or you can close down your eyes. And just allow everything to calm. You might have had to rush around to get organised to come to class today. So just let all of that go and allow yourself to just surrender into your mat space or into your seat if you're seated. So if we can, breathing out in and out through the nostrils. Let the forehead smooth and the jaw soften. Let the cheeks relax and the neck to be lengthened, and then let those shoulders just drop onto the mat. So if you need to have a little wiggle or nip the shoulder blades together to really open up through the chest, you can do that. And now I want you to just connect into the breath and how it feels as it enters the body. So if your hands are on your ribs, you'll be able to feel the rib cage rise and open as you inhale and lower as you exhale. So just some normal, regular breaths here. We're not changing the breath at all. We're just calming the body down and bringing ourselves to the mat ready for practice. And take this time to think about why you arrived at your mat today. Because we all come to our practice for different reasons. For some, it's to move. For others, it's to stretch. It might be to clear your mind. It could be to connect in with your breath. But whatever your reason for being here today, just focus on that for a moment. And if it was, for example, to move, why do you need to move? Are you feeling tight? Are you feeling tense in particular areas? Just kind of tune into the finer points of your practice of why, the reasons for being here today. If it was to breathe, why do you feel that need to breathe? Is there a certain part of the breath that's a little bit sticky perhaps? Are you finding your breath isn't deep enough and that we're short, shallow breathing? So just, as I say, just think about those finer details of why you came to your mat. And then every time the mind wanders throughout practice today, you can bring yourself back to those thoughts and just keep giving yourself those little nudges, those little reminders of why you're here. Okay. All right. So as you inhale, you should feel the breath enter and exit the body. I just want you to make it a bit longer and a bit deeper. So if your hands on the ribcage, really feel the ribcage rise and expand on the inhale and then lower on the exhale. You might be able to feel the belly balloon as well as you inhale. So really push the breath deeper down into the body. Keeping it flowing through the nostrils. Just check that we haven't put any tension back into the jaw, into the facial muscles, that they are nice and soft. And then we're going to do like a staged breath. So we're going to do an inhale. I'll guide you through it in a moment. So just keep breathing for now. We're going to do a double inhale. So it'll be an inhale, pause, and then finish the inhale, and then a complete exhale. So you're kind of doing half of the inhale, pausing the second half of the inhale, and then we'll pause at the top, and then we'll exhale, and then we'll flip it. So we do a two-stage exhale. Okay, so I want you to take your breath to the end of your next exhale. So breathe all of the breath out of the body. All right, now take an inhale, pause, finish off the inhale. So breathe in again, pause at the top, and then a long exhale. Let everything soften. Good. And again, inhale, pause, inhale again, pause at the top, exhale completely. Lovely. So inhale, breathe in, pause, finish the inhale again, pause, exhale completely. Good. And again, breathe in, pause, breathe in, pause, exhale completely. Let's do one more of those. So inhale, pause, inhale to the top, pause, and exhale completely. Just do me one regular inhale and exhale. So big long inhale all the way in, and exhale all the way out. Now we're going to double up on the exhale. So big inhale, so breathe in all the way up, pause at the top, exhale halfway, pause, exhale completely to the bottom. Good. And again, inhale all the way up, pause at the top, exhale halfway, pause, exhale to the bottom. Good. And inhale, fill up all the way up, big breath in, pause at the top, exhale halfway, pause there, and exhale again. Lovely. We're going to do 2 more rounds. Inhale, breathe in all the way up, pause at the top, exhale halfway, and then exhale completely. Lovely. Last one. Big deep breath in, exhale halfway, pause, and exhale completely. Well done. Big long inhale. Now fill up completely, pause at the top, and then exhale all the way down, all the way. Lovely. And then now just allow your breath to do whatever it needs to do. Let it return back to its own rhythm. Take the arms up and over your head. Take a full body stretch. Extend the legs down and away from you. So you're like in a pencil. So you're in a pencil stretch. So the arms are reaching one way, the feet are pointing the other, and stretch and extend. And then next, inhale, bring your knees into your chest and give yourself a little hug. So hug those knees in and have a rock from side to side. Just slowly rocking, just massaging out the spine. So keeping the head down, keeping the neck nice and long. Just rock one side and then the other. Good. Then take hold behind the back of the thighs and rock and roll forward and back now. So the full length of the spine. So trying to go back onto your shoulders to get into the full length. Do one more. So rock back and then come up into a seated position. So just come up to seated and find an easy cross-legged. Okay, if cross-legged isn't comfortable for you, then you can sit on your knees. That's fine. Or your legs can be extended. As you inhale, take your arms up to the ceiling. So big stretch up, interlace your fingers and push them up and away from you. So get some length here. Try to keep your shoulders down and away from your ears. And then turn the palms to face towards you and push them away as you bring your chin down onto your chest. So you're rounding out through the spine. Good. Inhale, take those arms up. Turn the palms to the ceiling and stretch and reach up. Try and bring the arms back past the ears if you can. And then as you exhale, turn the palms to face and round, bring your chin down onto your chest. Lovely. As you inhale, take those arms all the way up again, then release the left hand down to the floor, reach the right arm over the head. So over to the other side. So try not to drop forward with that arm. So if you pull your right shoulder back, you might be able to look underneath your arm towards the ceiling. Go a little bit deeper, but keep this sit bone grounded on the floor to get that stretch through the body. And then inhale, let's bring that back to center. Let's take it to the other side. So reach over. So pull this top shoulder back to open the chest so we can look underneath the arm towards the ceiling. Now really extend and reach, keeping the sit bones grounded on the floor. So we get the stretch from the fingertips down to the sitting bones. And then inhale, raise it up. As you exhale, fold over your legs, bring your head down, bring your hands down. Your head might touch the floor, it might be miles away, that's fine. Just slowly releasing and allow your spine to round. So let your head just drop, maybe give the head a little bit of a shake out. Creep your fingertips as far forward as you can. Lovely, and then release, just come back into a seated position for me. Now bring the other leg in front, so uncross and recross your legs so your other leg is in front. So we just keep the hips nice and equal. And then as we lift up, right, arms to the ceilings, palms are facing towards each other. So really pull the rib cage and the belly button back in. So extend and reach. Get as tall as you can. Then right hand across onto left knee, left hand behind you, and then see if you can either look just to the side or over your back shoulder. Take a breath in and grow taller through your spine. And then exhale, push against that knee and twist yourself around a little bit deeper. Good, do that again. So another breath, grow taller through the spine. And exhale, twist and turn over your back, look over your back shoulder. Good, now raise your arms to the ceiling. Let's take that to the other side. So left hand onto that right knee. Right hand behind you, and then again, either look over to the side or over your back shoulder. But stay really tall through the spine. Keep pulling the belly button back so that the core is active. Sit bones are grounded, and we keep growing taller on the inhale, twisting a little bit deeper on the exhale. Keep the neck nice and long as well. Good, take one more breath. And then release and bring it back to center. Now come over your knees into a tabletop. So we're on hands and knees, making sure that the hands are underneath the shoulders and our knees are directly underneath our hips. Okay, just spread the fingers out nice and wide. Make sure that that middle finger is pointing forwards. So middle finger's pointing forwards, and then as you inhale, lift the head and tilt the tailbone back. Just going to do some cat-cow. Exhale, round the spine, chin to chest. And again, lift the head and tilt the tailbone back. And then exhale, round the spine, chin to chest. One more. Inhale, lift the head, tilt the tailbone. And then exhale, round the spine. Pull the belly button in, tuck the tailbone under, and then release to neutral. Tuck your toes under. So you have to neglect the toes. And then sit back onto your heels to give the toes a stretch. Now your pinky toes might escape. So give those a little tuck under as well. I'm just going to turn to face. So we're on our toes. If this gets too painful, we're not going to be here for too long. You can untuck at any time. Now inhale, take your arms up to the ceiling. Now this left hand, turn the palm to face out to the outside. So rather than facing towards each other, turn it out. And then take a big circular movement of the arm and bring it back to center. Good, and then turn the right arm, and then it's a bit like you're doing backstroke, and then take it round. Good, and then do it again. So left arm goes round and all the way back up, and then the right. So turn the hand, big circle as big as you can, back to center. Now turn the arm. Now bring it forward and down. This is just trying to distract you from what's going on with your toes. So turn the palm out and then bring it forward and down. Sweep big circular movements to open up the shoulders. One more on each side. So turn the left arm, bring it down and all the way back up. And then the last one. So down, bring it all the way back up. Bring it back to center, palms face. Bring the hands down to the floor, tabletop. Untuck your toes and just give them a bash. So you might get a little bit of cramp in between in the feet. Just give it a little bash out there. And release. All right, let's tuck the toes once more. Let's lift up and back into downward facing dog. So making that inverted V shape with the body. So the hands are shoulder distance, the feet are hip distance. Push your heels towards the floor. You can have a little pedal out of the legs here. That always feels nice the first time you come into downward facing. So just as if you're cycling or walking the dog, just bending one leg then the other. Make sure that your head just hangs nice and heavy as well. So we're not trying to look forward with the head, we're just letting the head hang. And then remember with those fingers, the middle finger's forward, we've got equal pressure through both of the hands, the fingers are splayed nice and wide. And if you can find some stillness here, let's push the heels to the mat and lift your tailbone as high as you can. So really turn that crease underneath your bottom up towards the ceiling to lengthen those legs. As you inhale, just come forward with your body weight into a plank. Okay, you can always drop your knees down if need to, but nice and strong into the plank. Engage the core and the legs, push your heels back. Then again, lift the hips, push the heels down, come into down dog. Let's do that again. So come forward into plank. So just engage everything here. The space between your shoulder blades, push it up towards the ceiling. Look towards the top edge of your mat. So we're not looking back towards our feet, we're looking forward. And then push the hips up again, heels down, downward facing dog. We've got one more like that. So come forward into plank. I always do things in threes. Just a clue there. So come forward into plank, hold it nice and strong, and then drop your knees down onto the floor. Untuck your toes, and with the elbows tight, we're just lowering the chest down, so we're laid down onto our tummies, and then we can untuck the legs behind us. So keep the hands underneath the shoulders and squeeze the elbows together, so you start lifting your chest. So no pressure into the hands, we're just working the muscles of the lower back. So if you engage your tummy muscles, squeeze your shoulder blades, lift the chest, take a breath in here. Exhale, lower your forehead down to the floor. Now bring your hands back a touch further towards your lower ribs. And now push into your hands, but keep your elbows tight. As you lift up into a cobra, go as deep as you feel comfortable with. Okay, so we may be here, we may be all the way up in cobra, but gaze is forward. Now, legs are strong, so if you push through the top of the feet and engage your glutes and your quads, and your core is turned on, so it's nice and strong. Now, see if you can get more space, so the shoulders, roll them back and away from the ears. Breathe in here. And exhale. Once more, breathe in. And exhale. Lift your hips and push them all the way back onto your heels to take an extended child's pose. Forehead comes down towards the floor. We can always put the hands under the head if we need to make a little cushion here with the hands. So for child's pose, big toes are touching, knees can be apart or together. It's up to you. Just allow the body to settle and to sink. So the hips just drop onto the heels. Take a breath in and exhale to release it. Good. Now just lift the chest, so we're coming into kneeling. So we should be at the back of our mat. All right, if we place the hands down in front of the knees and tuck the toes under, so you can be on fingertips or your hands. We're going to lift the hips up so we come into a ragdoll position. So the feet are hip distance apart, back of the mat. If your hamstrings are tight, bend your knees. Now just flop your body, your upper body over your legs. So again, the head is hanging heavy. The arms can just reach to the floor or take hold of opposite elbows. That always feels nice in a ragdoll position. And if you wish, you can sway from side to side. Just see how the legs are feeling, especially if you've been seated today for the majority of the day. The hamstrings will tighten up, and running, cycling, all of those things make our hamstrings super tight. So this is really good for lengthening. If you can get your fingertips to the floor, just bring them onto the mat. You can bend your knees as much as you need to and just take some weight forward and back. So balls of the feet and then into the heels. So rock forward and back. Good. And then come to a position where you've got equal pressure through the feet, and then slowly roll up the spine, keeping the knees soft, keeping your tummy engaged. Bring the head up last. Then take your arms up to the ceiling. So touch your palms together, bring the hands into prayer at heart center. So feet are together, back of the mat. This is our Tadasana, our mountain posture. So if you bring your arms by your side, palms facing forward for Tadasana, okay? So big toes are touching, slight gap between the heels. Shoulders roll them back and down. Take a breath in and take a breath out. Inhale, take your arms up to the ceiling. Look towards your hands. Exhale, forward fold. Knees are soft here. Bring the hands onto the shins, halfway lift. So lengthen from your tailbone to the crown of the head. Exhale, fold over your legs again. Hands onto the floor. Walk forward with your hands to bring you into a plank position. So nice and strong. Lower the knees down, elbows in, bring chin and chest to the mat. Lay down onto your tummy. Keep the hands under the shoulders. Push into your back bend. So cobra. Shoulders back away from the ears. Keep the knees on the mat. Sit back, child's pose. Bottom goes to the heels. Forehead comes to the floor. Come into tabletop. So hands and knees. Tuck your toes. Lift your hips. Downward facing dog. Good. Let's walk our feet forward. So little steps. We're going to walk all the way forward to the top of the mat, keeping the fingers down as long as we possibly can. So the feet are hip distance. Hands come onto the shins. Halfway lift, lengthen. Exhale, soften the knees, fold over your legs. Now sweep your arms up to the ceiling, lift up. And then exhale, forward fold. So exactly the same thing. Halfway lift. Fold over your legs, hands to the floor. Now step back into a plank. So step one foot, then the other. Get a nice strong position into the plank. And if you want to lower the knees, but otherwise, come down slowly. The whole body lowers at the same time. Now release yourself, lay down, push through, lift up, cobra. Tuck your toes, lift your hips, go straight into downward facing dog. So hopefully you're starting to warm up and feel a little looser. From here, we're going to lift the right leg up into the air. Three-legged dog. Okay, so we've got equal pressure into the hands. The right leg is lifted. The right toes are pointing down. The right foot is flexed. Then see if we can get the left heel to the floor. And just see if you can check if your hips are level. You want to keep your hips level. Your right hip will try and lift. Okay, we don't want the hip to lift. We want to keep them nice and level. Now push the right heel away from you. So you're getting as much distance as you can from your hands and that right heel. Now look where your hands are and step the right foot in between your hands. So big step, bring it forward. You can give it a bit of help if you need to. Drop your back knee down and untuck your back toe. Keeping that left hand on the floor, take your right arm up to the ceiling for a twisted half lunge. Okay, so we're trying to get a vertical line from our bottom hand all the way up to our right fingertips. And we look towards the hand if the neck feels okay. So look towards the hand, keep the breath flowing. Release the hand down, frame that front foot, step back to plank. So tuck your back toe under, step back into a plank position. Good, push back, downward facing dog. Let's do the other side. Lift the left leg. So remember, hips are square. Left foot is flexed, the toes are pointing down. Try to drive your right heel to the floor as well. Then push equally through both of your hands. Look between your hands and step that left foot forward. Left foot to the top. Drop your back knee, untuck the back toe. Keep the right hand down on the floor. Reach the left arm up to the ceiling. So we go into our twisted half lunge. Okay, so we're looking towards our top arm, hand. Our arms are in a vertical line. Keep sinking your hips down towards the floor so we get a nice opening through the hip flexor as well. Good. Release the hand down to the floor. Tuck the back toe, step back to plank. Lower. Knees, chin, chest, or come down with the whole body at the same time. Now push through and into your back bend. Back to downward facing dog. So we're going to do that again and just add on to it. So lift the right leg up. Keep those hips nice and square. Look forward, step the right foot between the hands. Drop the back knee and untuck the back toe. Left hand down, right arm reaches up. Good, and then bring your right hand onto your right knee. And then with this back foot, so that's your left foot, just bring it towards the right side of your mat. So then we can inhale and open ourselves up into a warrior two, but it's a baby warrior two because we're on our knee. So our knee and our heel are kind of in line with each other. Okay, our arms are at shoulder height, the chest is open to the side edge of the mat. And then just make sure that as you look at your front knee, you can see your big toe. So you should feel it here. I feel it on my inner thigh massively on this stretch, but just relax the shoulders down. Good. Bring your hands behind the back of the head, but keep the elbows nice and wide. As you inhale, think about growing taller through the spine. As you exhale, bring the right elbow to touch that right knee and then bring it back to center. And then again, just elbow touches knee, and back to center. We'll do one more, elbow down to knee, bring it back to center, extend the arms, drop your elbow onto your knee, and then now you've got two options. We can then either extend the arm up or take it overhead to get the stretch down this side of the body. If you want to take it deeper, bring that hand to the inside of the foot and really open up. So keep pushing the knee out to the side and feel the stretch coming all the way through that side. Well done. Now cartwheel that left hand all the way to the back of the mat and raise so that foot might just come behind you, and then we extend the right arm up to the ceiling. Now we're coming onto the toes of your right foot. Hold here or lift your right leg and then bring your heel to your bottom and see if you can get hold of the foot. And then just push your hips forward as you pull that right shoulder back. Good. And then you can look forward or you can start turning and looking over the right shoulder towards the ceiling. But keep pushing those hips forward so we're opening through the front of the body. And then we'll very carefully release out. So extend the arm, bring the foot down to the floor, lift up again to center. And then if you bend into this front knee, bring your hands to the top of the mat and bring that left foot back behind you. Are we there? Step back to plank. Well done. Lower. Either knees and chin or the body goes all the way down at once. Push through and into your back bend. Go back to downward facing. So tuck the toes, lift the hips. Down dog. We're going to take 5 breaths here. If you prefer, bring your knees down, sit back, then take a child's pose. You've got 5 inhales. Long, slow inhales and exhales. 3 more rounds of breath. Breathing in. Exhaling out. Good. 2 more rounds. So child's pose or down dog, it's your choice. And last round, breathe in. And out. If you're in child's pose, come back to downward facing dog. Everybody from down dog, look forward, bend your knees, jump or step your feet to the top of the mat. Lengthen through the spine, so halfway lift, then soften the knees and fold over your legs. Slowly roll up on the inhale, all the way up. Take your arms up to the ceiling, lift, look up, and exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift, lengthen. Step back into a plank position. And then lift the hips, push the heels down into your downward facing dog. Let's do the other side. Let's lift the left leg up into the air. So lift it up nice and high. Step it forward in between the hands at the top of the mat. Drop the back knee down onto the floor. Okay, so open up into that half lunge first. So the right hand stays underneath the shoulder, the left arm reaches up towards the ceiling. Lovely. Then bring the left hand onto that front knee. Take your right foot over towards the left hand side of the mat. Okay, then we can turn and open ourselves up into our warrior 2. So if you have a look, you should have your heel and knee pretty much in line with each other. The arms are out at shoulder height, the chest is open to the long edge of the mat, and we should always be able to see our big toe. Okay, so always be able to see your big toe, so you should feel it. Nice extension coming through the inner thigh. Bring the hands behind the back of the head. Keep the elbows nice and wide. And then left elbow touches left knee and inhale to left. And we take it again. So tap the elbow to the knee, come back up. And one more. Tap down, lift up, arms come out. Bring your hand down to the floor. Oh no, sorry. Come back. I've just forgotten something. Drop your elbow down and then take the arm up and maybe overhead if the shoulder feels all right. If you want to take it deeper, bring the hand down to the inside of the foot to get it a really lovely intense stretch from this top right hand all the way down to the knee. So get that length, that lovely length here. As I say, it's a little easier if you just keep the elbow onto the knee. But breathe into your right rib cage. Right side lung, lovely. Now cartwheel. So now we bring the hand down to the floor and make sure that the hand is underneath the shoulder for support. Extend the left arm up, come onto your left toes, stay here if that's enough, or lift the leg up so it floats parallel with the mat. And then maybe the heel comes to the bottom and we can reach and get hold of it behind us. If we've got hold of the foot, now let's push those hips forward, open the chest and start looking over the left shoulder towards the ceiling or just gaze forward. So we're opening up the front body. Try to nip your shoulder blades together in the middle of your back. So squeeze the shoulder blades together to open up the chest. And then as carefully as we came in, let's come out slowly. Bring the foot down, bring the self back up, turn towards your front foot and bend into this knee, hands to the top. The right foot comes out behind you again. Step back into plank. And then lower, knees, chin, chest, or lower slowly, the whole body, push through. Back bend, onto your knees, sit back, child's pose, 5 breaths. If you want it stronger, downward facing dog, it's up to you. But big long inhales, exhales, full and complete. Maybe breathe out through the mouth. It's really good for cleansing the breath. I always like to give my head a little bit of a shake when I'm in downward facing or in child's pose, just to release out neck tension because I hold so much tension in my neck. But so do whatever feels right for you. 2 more rounds of breath here. Big long inhales. And exhale it out. So last one, inhale in. And release. If you're in child's pose, come and join us back in downward facing dog. Then look forward, bend at your knees, jump, step or walk up to the top of the mat, halfway lift, and then bend, soften through the knees, bend over your legs and release. Slowly roll up the spine, come up carefully and slowly to standing, reach your arms up and then bring it into heart center. So prayer into heart center. Close your eyes for a moment and just notice how you feel. Remember why you came to your mat. Was it to move? Was it to breathe? Was it to stretch? Just notice all of that. Let the breath return back to its own rhythm. Awesome. Open up your eyes. Take the weight into your left foot. Spread out those left toes. Bring your right knee into your chest. So try and keep the spine nice and tall whilst we're doing our balance. And then guide the foot. So above or below the knee joint. If we're going above the knee joint, push the leg and the foot into each other equally and it will help to stay there. Hands to prayer heart center. If that's not an option, we can have it below, that's fine. We can grow our prayer to the ceiling. We can open up our branches. So if we're trying to keep the shoulders nice and relaxed, then I would recommend taking the arms wide and just bending through the elbows to release off through the shoulders. Just finding balance and choosing one point in front of you, your drishti, your gaze point, to help you balance. And just keep using the breath to hold you here. Now, from your pelvic floor up towards your navel, zip that area up. So imagine we've got a zip, we're just zipping up, and then we're going to grow even taller out and up out of the crown of the head. This is how we feel taller after a yoga class, because we keep lengthening up through the spine. So each inhale, get even taller. Wonderful. Okay, let's bring the hands back into prayer at heart center and then knee back in front of us. Hold it there for a moment. Now, can you extend that leg out in front of you, but without leaning back? Push the heel to the front of the room. And then very slowly take it back behind you. And then tilt the chest forward. So we come into a capital T shape. Flex the back foot. So we're in a warrior 3. Flex that back foot. Oops. If you want to, you can always just bring the toe to the floor if the balance isn't great. Just hold for a moment. And then step about half a mat's distance back. So we should be about half a mat's distance. Our feet, should be on train tracks. Yeah, so we're not on a tightrope. We have a distance between the feet. Now, hands, our prayer, we're going to take that behind the back. Either reverse your prayer up your back or take hold of opposite elbows. That's sometimes a little bit easier. So if you take hold of your elbows like this, it opens up through the chest. So both feet are pointing forward, both hips are pointing forward. Lift the chest on your inhale, and then as you exhale, we're going to bring left chest down onto left thigh. And then you're aiming your chin towards your big toe. Okay, so keep squeezing your shoulder blades together. Legs as straight as they can be. That back heel is down if possible. All right, the shorter your stance, the easier this is. So if it does get a little bit too much, just make your stance a little shorter. And then with each breath, we're trying to take the chin a bit closer towards our big toe, and then push your left hip back. Really drive your left hip back. So you should feel it down the back of this leg. This is called pyramid posture. So really getting into that hamstring on the left side. Good. Take another breath, go deeper if you can. And then very slowly bring it all the way back up. Release your hands and just step back together, feet together, hands are at prayer. Notice how the legs are feeling. Are they feeling different? Let's even ourselves up. So weight into the right foot, left knee to chest. Then when you're ready, tree above or below the knee joints. Guide the foot into place, then find your prayer. Stay with the hands here if you wish, or extend, maybe find your branches. Relax by bending into the elbows, relaxing the shoulders, but nice and strong, stand firm. Spread the right toes out, push the left knee to the side, engage the core, especially pelvic floor to navel. Really zip up that area. Grow taller through the whole of the spine and out of the crown of the head. Wonderful. Keep the breath long and deep. Keep that breath flowing. Keep the gaze steady and focused forwards. Good, another 2 rounds of breath. Long inhale. And exhale. And again, breathe it in. And out. Well done. Bring the knee back into the center. Give it a little hug here. Hands to prayer. Heart center. Can you extend that leg forward? Push the heel to the front of the room. Push the heel forward without leaning back. Then pivot on the hip as you take that leg back and into your capital T shape. Warrior 3. Hands stay in prayer. Just turn to the side. Hold that balance. Hips are square. Heel is pushing back. Good. Engage the core. Protect your lower back. Then lower the back foot. So we're about half a mat's distance with our feet. Feet are on train tracks. Take your prayer behind your back or grab onto opposite elbows. If we're doing the opposite elbow grab, have the other arm on top, just so that we're switching the grip a little. Then as you inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, fold from your hip crease, bringing the right chest down onto the right thigh and taking your chin towards your right big toe. Push that right hip back into space. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Use the inhale to lengthen the spine. Exhale, go deeper. Good, legs as straight as they can be. Back heel preferably down, but not essential. Wonderful, go deeper as you exhale. One more breath. Really squeeze a little bit extra out the posture if you can, and then very carefully, slowly come back up. Use your core. Release your arms down by your side. Step back, feet together, hands together in prayer, top of the mat. Take an inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift, lengthen. Hands to the floor, step to plank. Lower yourself down slowly to the mat. Push through, lift up into back bend. Good, tuck the toes, lift the hips, downward facing dog. Take a breath here, push those heels down, lift the tailbone high, give the head a shake out. Lovely, well done. So just notice if your heels are a little bit closer to the mat than they were the first time. Just reconnect in with the mind, the body, the breath. Lovely. Okay, bring it forward into a plank for me. So nice and strong through the plank. Looking in front of your fingertips, engaging the core, pushing the heels to the back of the room. Lift the hips high, heels down, downward facing dog. Inhale, bring it forward, plank. Keep that strength all the way through the body. Push back. Downward facing dog. Last one. Come forward into plank. Hold it here. Hold, hold, hold. Push back, downward facing dog. Lovely. Lift the right leg up into the air. Lift it nice and high. So if you bend the right knee and try and bring your right heel to your left buttock, your hips will open. We're trying to open up the hips now. So you're trying to get your right knee as high as you possibly can, but keep pushing through both of your hands equally. So your right heel's coming down to the left buttock. Okay, so lift that right knee even higher if possible, and then bring the right knee towards our right wrist. So slowly, right knee to right wrist, and then lay the foot across the top edge of the mat beneath you, and then slide the leg out behind you into pigeon posture. So if I do it facing you, my right knee is behind my right hand, and then my leg is underneath me here. If this feels really unstable, get a cushion or something, or a block, and pop it underneath your right hip, just to give it something to sit down on. And then the hands are just in front of us. Your left leg is going back down the center of the mat behind you. So the hips are central. So we don't want to see the hips doing this or dropping it to either side. We want the hips in the center. So if you come up onto your fingertips, your hips are right in the center of your mat. You may not be able to lift the hands up. You don't have to lift the hands off. Just make sure your hips are central. And then when you're ready, see if you can come onto your forearms. Stay there, or some of you may want to come all the way down and bring your forehead to the floor and extend the arms in front of you. If it feels better to stay on your hands, stay on your hands. Pigeon is personal. And each side is completely different, and it's all about your hips. So go with wherever is comfortable. Okay, if it really isn't comfortable, then there's another option, which I'll just show you, which is to just lay on your back and cross your ankle over your opposite knee, because it's doing the same thing, and then we can bring the knee into the chest, and we can do this. This is reclined pigeon. So if you want to do it this way, then that's another option as well. Okay. So wherever you're choosing to work, just use your breath to try and melt into this pose. Try and let your shoulders be relaxed, your neck. Just let it all be about your hips. And keep the inhale and the exhale as long and deep as you can to really release tension. Wonderful. So keep that breath flowing. And now carefully and very slowly come back up to bring your hands underneath your shoulders. Now the right hand's going to stay on the floor, so it's underneath our face. The right hand's there to stabilize. The left hand, reach it to the back of your mat, and we might be able to get hold of that back foot. And if you've got hold of the foot, just try and pull it towards your bottom, and you should feel a really big stretch into your quad. So coming down through the front of the thigh. So pull that foot in as far as it wants to go. Don't force it. And then carefully release it. Bring your hands back to the top, tuck that back toe under, and then we're going to step back into down dog. So step back, lift the hips, push the heels down. Just have a little wiggle out here just to release off any tension that we've got going on, any tightness through the hip. All right, either stay in downward facing dog or join me for a vinyasa, which is just the flow before we do the other side. So vinyasa, we come forward to plank. We lower either knees and chin or lower slowly the whole body at once. Push through, back bend, tuck the toes, lift the hips, and into downward facing dog. Wonderful. From downward facing, everyone lift the left leg, bend your knee and open up your hip. So left heel towards the right butt cheek. So the left knee is as high as possible. Now push down strongly through both of your hands. Move your chest back towards your right thigh. Push your right heel to the floor. So it's a really strong posture when we're getting into that hip. Lovely. And then the left knee comes behind the left wrist. We lay the leg across the top edge of the mat. Slide the right leg long behind you. So we should be in pigeon on the other side. Hands, top of the mat. Maybe bring them onto your hips just to check your hips are nice and square, if that's an option for you. So I'll show you from the front again. So just check that that knee is behind the wrist. The leg is coming as high up as it can, all right? You ideally want it across a 90-degree angle, but I don't know when that's going to happen. Not for me anyway. But the right leg is long down the center of the mat. When you're ready, you can come down, either forearms lay down completely, or you can just stay on your hands if that feels better. Use pillows, use blocks, use your hands as a pillow, and just sink into it and release. Take some breaths. Let it go. Use the exhale to release out tension. Sink deeper. Work into that hip space. Upper body's relaxed and soft. The breath should be long and deep. One more round of breath. After your next exhale, start bringing yourself back onto your hands. So the hands are under the shoulders. The left hand's going to come to the center, so it's underneath the face. The right arm reaches back towards the back of the mat, and then that back foot might come up into the hand, it might not. And if it does, we can pull the heel in towards the bottom to get the quad stretch. If it doesn't, we can just reach back here and stay in this position, or we can reach towards the foot. Any stage, wherever you're working, just find the breath, open up the chest. Take one more breath and release to center. Hands to the top of the mat. Tuck your right toe under and push back slowly into downward facing dog. Brilliant. Just wiggle out the legs. Sometimes you just need to decompress that knee joint. Good. All right, everybody, forward to plank. Lower slowly to lay down. All the way to the mat. Push the chest forward and up into your back bend. And then keeping the knees down, let's sit back all the way to our pose of a child, bringing your forehead to the floor. Let the arms come down by the sides of the legs. So turn your palms to face up next to your feet. Your shoulders melt onto your knees. Close your eyes. Big deep breath in. Open the mouth and sigh that breath out. Let your hips sink. Breathe into that space in the back body and release. Brilliant, well done. Come up into a kneeling position and then very carefully just bring yourself onto your bottom. So come to seated, bring the feet, so bend the knees, bring the feet just about hip distance apart, reach the arms forward. So lift up through the chest, lengthen the spine. Breathe in, exhale, curl the spine and roll down really slowly. Control the movement all the way to the mat. Take your arms up and over your head and stretch. Now bring your heels in towards your bottom so the feet are hip distance apart. Keeping the arms up and over the head. I just want you to lift your hips up to the ceiling just to get some length through the front of the body. And then exhale, slowly lower. Bring the bum down, bring your knees in, give yourself a hug, have a rock from side to side here. Just slow rocking, one way then the other. Just side to side, one hand on each knee. Make some circular movements. So circle the knees one way and then the other. Lovely, well done. Take hold behind the back of the thighs. Let's rock up a couple of these. So it's really good for massaging through the spine. We're going to come into a seated position. Okay, so once you're in a seated position, take your left leg out. So if we were sitting in with both of our legs extended, we'd be at like 90 degrees. But we're going to bring the right sole of the foot into the inner thigh. So the left leg is extended and the foot is flexed. Okay. Now with your left hand, bring it across onto your right knee. And then with your right arm, sweep it back and up to the ceiling. And then as you really grow through this side of the body, and we're reaching towards that toe. So we're not going to get hold of it. We're just going to reach in that direction to get some length through the side of the body. The head can do whatever it wants to, wherever it feels most comfortable, but just get some length through that side body. Breathe into it. Good. Now cartwheel that right hand behind you, place it behind you, and then with the left arm, reach it forward. And if you push into your heel of the left foot, the knee of the right foot, we should be able to lift our hips into a seated wild thing. So we reach that left arm back and look towards where the left hand is. So we're pushing and lifting the hips up, and then we exhale and we bring it down again. Did we get that? Wonderful. Okay, now take both of your legs out. So we're in that wide leg seat. If it's too much, we can have a softness through the knees. So we can have a micro bend through the knees if it's too much on the legs. Inhale here. Exhale, forward fold. So just reach your hands wherever they get to. For some, the forearms might come down, that's fine. Now try and flex your feet. If your legs are straight, flex your feet, so point your toes to the ceiling. And then if you try and push your chest forward, and that crease under your bottom, push that back to get that length. See if the chest can go down a touch more. And then inhale, bring it back up. Good, let's do the other side. So bring that foot in. So the sole of the foot into the inner thigh. Flex your right toes. Bring the right hand across onto the knee. The left arm sweeps back. Reach up, 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 and all the way over, as if we're trying to get hold of the big toes over there somewhere. But we want to keep the sit bone down. We want to get the stretch through the side body. Because if we start reaching, then we collapse. We don't want to collapse. We want to keep that length. So reach up, reach over, breathe into it. Lovely. Cartwheel that hand behind you. Reach your right arm forward, push into the knee and the ankle, as we reach all the way back, looking towards your right fingertips. So reach the right arm as back as you can into your seated wild thing. Lift the hips up. Breathe into your chest. Exhale. Carefully bring your bottom back down to the floor. Release your legs. So we're in that straddle position again. We're doing one more. If you want to take the legs a little wider, that will work into the inner thighs. The closer the legs are, the more it will go into your hamstrings. So whichever one you prefer. Lift up on the inhale. Forward fold. So reach forward. Reach, reach, reach. And when you can't reach any further, then bring your hands down. Hands down. Maybe forearms come down. Maybe your nose will touch the floor. We're all very different. And if you have children with you, they generally will get their noses on the floor before we will. Because I know my girls do. Okay, but we're trying to push the chest forward and creep those fingertips forward to get into the stretch, and then carefully release. Bring your hands behind you, legs come together, give them a little shake out and to release off. Well done. And then the same as what we did previously, bend the knees, feet to hip distance, arms reach forward, lift through the chest, and then exhale, curl down really slowly to release. Now let the arms either come out by your side, palms face up, or onto your rib cage, or let the knees knock together like we did right at the beginning. You are in your final position of relaxation into Shavasana now. So well done. Get comfortable. If you want to add layers, socks, blankets, please do so. I just want you to be comfortable. We've got about 3 minutes, 2.5, 3 minutes here. So once you are in a comfortable position, just take some nice big long breaths in and exhale out through the mouth. And with each exhale, we're just going to settle and sink into the mat. So really connecting with the earth beneath you. Closing the eyes if you wish, or soft gaze at the ceiling. Nip your shoulder blades together. Take your limbs away from the midline of the body so we can really open up the hips and the shoulders. Then start at the crown of your head and work down, releasing and relaxing tension. Let it go. Forehead, cheeks, in the mouth, the jaw, especially the facial muscles. We hold so much tension in our faces without even realizing it. Somebody once told me to relax my eyes. I was like, how do you do that? But even when your eyes are closed, your eyes seem to be darting all around the place. So when we say relax your eyes, kind of stop that busyness going on. Try to let the eyes just be still. And then work through the body, the neck, the shoulders, the chest, down your arms to your wrists, your hands, your fingertips, through the back body, the abdomen, the hips, the buttocks. Let go of tension. And then all the way down your legs, especially into the hamstrings. They've worked hard. The hips area have been stretched today. So we have created tension there. Use your exhale to release it. All the way down through the lower legs to the ankles, to the feet, to the toes. Let go. Let go of everything. Focus on your breath. And focus on why you came to your mat. It's all you need to be thinking about right now. So the breath should return to its own natural rhythm. Don't change it anyway, just allow it to flow. And before we finish, I'd like you to all think of 3 things that you are grateful for today. It can be anything. Doesn't matter how big or how small. And just think of those 3 things in turn in your mind. Just picture them. And say a big thank you to them. And then think about 3 things that you have achieved today. Again, doesn't matter how big or how small. Just 3 things that you have achieved. For me, my 3 things that I'm grateful for today, I'm grateful to my body for moving in all these amazing ways. I'm grateful to my breath for allowing me and giving me that life force energy that I need to be able to do these things. And I'm grateful to you all for joining me and allowing me to guide you through a practice. The 3 things that I've achieved today. Number 1, I made my bed this morning. Number 2, my 3 children got logged on to home learning at the right time. And number 3, I managed to take some time out for myself and go and take a walk with a friend. So the things that we are grateful for, the things that we achieve, don't have to be massive things. It's a really lovely practice to do on a daily basis. All right, when you're ready, guys, take another big deep inhale. Maybe find some small movements with your fingers, your toes. And if and when you're ready, take your arms up and overhead for a full body stretch. If you wish to stay in Shavasana longer, by all means, please do so. If you're coming to conclude the practice with me, then bring your knees into your chest, give yourself a hug. And I invite you to roll over onto your right side, Just a pause for a breath before coming back up into a seated position where we will end our practice. Carefully making your way there. Keep the eyes closed if you can, or just a soft focus forward. Hands into prayer at heart center. Just make sure the energy in and around you is equal once more. So we're not feeling lightheaded at all. Just make sure the breath is equal. Give thanks to everyone who shared the space with you online today. As I say, I am so grateful to all of you for joining me and allowing me to guide you. Have a wonderful evening. Namaste. Well done. If you want to